let's get the testing underway and see if the $28 inflator is just as good as the one that cost $150. In the first test, we'll see which tire inflator can top off a tire the fastest. Then we'll see which one can inflate Cousin Eddie's mattress the fastest. Finally, we'll see which inflator is the fastest to 80 psi. At a price of $28, the least expensive tire inflator we'll be testing is made by Novsight. Auto stop design allows the pump to shut off once the desired pressure is reached. It has a built-in 6,000 mAh battery that can be used as a power bank for iPhone or Android devices. It can handle up to 150 psi. The Novsight is made in China, and the Novsight is very light at only 1.18 pounds. At 24 inches from the sound meter, 86.1 decibels for the Novsight. Let's kick off our first test, seeing how long it takes to inflate a 15-inch car tire from 30 to 36 psi. I'll be using this inline tire pressure gauge that I put together to compare the inflators. It's just a pass-through without a valve or anything else obstructing free air movement. All the batteries are fully charged, and the Novsight started out just fine without any abnormal sounds. However, it wasn't making any progress and it began squeaking. So I went ahead and ended the test after about a minute. At a price of $40 is this Dnyker brand. It has a 2 amp hour 20 volt rechargeable lithium ion battery. It claims it can pump up to 4 tires in just one charge, up to 160 psi. Includes a pretty bright flashlight. It also comes with an air mattress inflator. The Dnyker is made in China, and the Dnyker is quite a bit heavier at 4.25 pounds. And the Dnyker is pretty loud at 92.2 decibels. For a budget air pump that comes with a battery and charger, the Dnyker actually performed well, adding 6 psi in a minute and 33 seconds. So 93 seconds is the time to beat. At a price of $48 for just the inflator and not the battery and charger is this Kobalt brand. You can set the desired pressure up to 120 psi. Includes a 20-inch air hose with quick connect adapter. It uses the 24-volt Kobalt battery. Automatically turns off after 3 minutes. 3.99 pounds for the Kobalt. For most of the inflators that did not come with batteries, I'll be using a 4 amp hour battery. For the Bauer, I'll be using a 5 amp hour battery. 90.9 decibels for the Kobalt. And the Kobalt sounds like the air pump is making about twice the RPM as a Dnyker. And the highly motivated Kobalt takes the lead from the Dnyker in only 57 seconds, or about 39% faster. At a price of $50 is this TC15. It claims to fully inflate a car tire from 0 to 36 psi in only 5 minutes. It has a built-in 7,800 mAh rechargeable battery. TC15 claims it can inflate 4 car tires from 0 to 36 psi on one charge. Can also be used as an emergency power bank for your phone. Just preset the pressure and the tire pump will shut off once the desired pressure is reached. It also has a built-in flashlight, made in China. And the TC15 is very light at 1.55 pounds. And the TC15 is relatively quiet at 85.6 decibels. And the TC15 is very compact and light at very close to 1.5 pounds. And a very small air pump needs very close to 3 minutes to add 6 psi. At a price of $50 for just the inflator and not the battery and charger is this Bauer brand, which is sold at Harbor Freight. It also includes a high volume inflator and deflator for large inflatables. It claims it can inflate most car tires in just 2 minutes. You can use it with a 20 volt Bauer battery or with a 12 volt car DC outlet, up to 160 psi. Including the 5 amp hour battery, the Bauer weighs 5.14 pounds, 88.1 decibels for the Bauer. And the Harbor Freight Bauer pump costs a couple of dollars more than the Kobalt. And the Bauer is finished in a minute and 3 seconds, or about 6 seconds slower than the Kobalt. At a price of $62 is this Gooloo GT160. It has a built-in 7,500 mAh battery, max pressure of 160 psi. It claims it can be used for continuous inflation for up to 45 minutes on one charge. It can also be used as a power bank for your phone, made in China. And the Gooloo is very light at only 1.82 pounds. And the Gooloo is at 90.8 decibels. Unlike the Bauer and the Kobalt, the Gooloo comes with a built-in battery. Considering the compact size and lightweight, the Gooloo performed very well at a minute and 15 seconds, or more than twice as fast as the compact TC15. At a price of $62 for just the inflator and not the battery and charger is this Ryobi 1 Plus. It claims it can inflate up to 10 car tires in just one charge. It uses an 18 volt battery, inflates twin air mattresses in only 30 seconds, autofill shut off. And a Ryobi with the 4 amp hour battery weighs 4.57 pounds. And the Ryobi is the loudest yet at 93.4 decibels. And the Ryobi costs around $12 to $14 more than the Kobalt and the Bauer. And the Ryobi is a little bit slower than both of those brands at 1 minute and 7 seconds, which is good enough to move into 3rd place. At a price of $70 for just the inflator and not the battery and charger is this WORX brand. Inflates a tire from 0 to 36 psi in only 4 minutes. Automatically shuts off when the set pressure is reached. The LED delivers between 150 and 200 lumens. With the battery, the WORX weighs 3.51 pounds. And the WORX is at 89.2 decibels. The WORX brand typically costs about the same or less than the Bauer and the Ryobi, but it seems pretty expensive at $70. However, the WORX just took the lead from the Kobalt, adding 6 psi in only 52 seconds. At a price of $80 is this DriveMo brand. It even includes a carrying case, up to 150 psi. It's a 12 volt DC two-way power supply air pump. Includes a built-in 12,000 mAh battery. It even includes a 7.4 inch touchscreen. And the DriveMo is pretty light at only 2.3 pounds. And the DriveMo makes the least amount of noise noise yet at 82.4 decibels. And the compact DriveMo costs $20 more than the Gooloo, and it isn't quite as light or compact. And the pressure gauge seems to be off by about 2 psi. And it took a minute 56 seconds to add 6 psi. At a price of $118 for just the inflator and not the battery and charger is this Ridgid brand. And the Ridgid claims to be the fastest inflator on the market. Lifetime warranty. The air hose is 20 inches in length. The inflator also comes with a 12-volt vehicle power cord, up to 150 psi. Rotate the dial clockwise or counterclockwise to increase or decrease the programmed tire pressure. 3.84 pounds for the Ridgid. And the Ridgid is by far the loudest yet at 96.7 decibels. And the Ridgid makes a lot of noise and it likes to dance. And all the noise in the dancing paid off, as the Ridgid is by far the fastest yet at 36 seconds. Very impressive. At a price of $129 for just the inflator and not the battery and charger is this DeWalt brand. You can power up the DeWalt using 3 different methods: the 20-volt battery, the 12-volt DC, or 110-volt AC. The 110-volt power cord has to be purchased separately. High-pressure inflation with automatic shutoff. Programmed to the desired air pressure by rotating the dial clockwise or counterclockwise. In addition to the tire inflator, it also has a high-volume inflation and deflation. And the DeWalt's by far the heaviest yet at 6.91 pounds. And the DeWalt is less noisy than average at 86.2 decibels. Once the compressor button is activated on the DeWalt, it takes about a second for the DeWalt to ramp up, and the DeWalt performed about the same as the Bauer at 1 minute and 4 seconds. At a price of $139 for just the tool and not the battery and charger is this Milwaukee brand. Milwaukee claims to be the fastest 18-volt cordless tire inflator. Top off a 33-inch light truck tire in under 1 minute. Rated for 150 psi max. And the Milwaukee's even heavier than the DeWalt at 8.68 pounds. 89.4 decibels for the Milwaukee. Both the Ridgid and the Milwaukee claim to be the fastest 18-volt tire pump, but there can only be one champ. And the Milwaukee is finished in 18 seconds, or about twice as fast as the Ridgid. Very impressive. And the most expensive inflator we'll be testing at $152 for just the tool and not the battery and charger is this Makita brand. It claims to be a powerful high-volume air pump for faster inflation. The inflator is powered by Makita's 18-volt LXT lithium-ion battery. Delivers up to 160 psi. Auto-stop function automatically stops inflation when the preset air pressure is reached. Includes 3 different speed settings. 6.02 pounds for the Makita. And the Makita topped out at 90.4 decibels. And the Makita is pretty expensive at $152 and is pretty fast. And the Makita just moved into second place behind the Milwaukee in 29 seconds. When it comes to topping off a tire at a relatively low pressure, the Milwaukee is the fastest at 18 seconds. Makita finished in second at 29 seconds and Ridgid 36. If you're looking for a tire inflator to throw in the back of the car, space and weight might be a factor. And the 4 tire pumps with built-in batteries are by far the lightest and most compact. If you're looking for a pump that doesn't make a lot of noise, once again, the top 3 pumps have a built-in battery, but they aren't as fast as the larger pumps. Let's see which tire pump is the fastest at inflating a completely flat tire. Air hose temperature is a pretty good indicator of how hot the compressor is becoming. And the Novsight is becoming very hot with the air hose at over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. From my experience, compressors that run hot just don't last as long. And the air pump powered itself down at just over 10 minutes at 15 psi. And the Dnyker is definitely performing a lot better than the Novsight. And the pump is also running a little bit cooler with the air hose temperature around 175 degrees, which is still pretty hot. And the Dnyker shut itself off at the target pressure of 36 psi. Both the pump and the gauge are showing 36. And the battery is still at 3 bars. And the Kobalt was faster than the Dnyker in the first test, and it's once again faster on this test at 7 minutes and 10 seconds. The air pump is also running about 15 degrees cooler at 160. Both air pressure gauges agree that the tire pressure is at 36 psi. 3 out of 4 bars for the Kobalt. And trying to fill a completely flat tire with the very compact TC15 is asking a lot. However, the TC15 refused to give up, and the compressor is a little bit hot at 170 degrees. And the TC15 automatically shut down, and both gauges are at 36 psi. And the Kobalt was a little bit faster than the Bauer in the first test, and the Bauer needed about 30 seconds longer than the Kobalt this time to reach 36 psi. And the compressor's air hose temperature is around 158 degrees, which is about the same as the Kobalt. Inflating a full-size tire with a very compact Gooloo is asking a lot. And the Gooloo is running a little bit warmer than most of the other brands at 195 degrees Fahrenheit. And the Gooloo is finished in 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Not too bad for a compact pump. 3 out of 4 bars on the battery, and both gauges are at 36 psi. And the Ryobi came close to matching the speed of the Kobalt and the Bauer on the first test, and it performed very well in this test. However, it is running about 20 degrees hotter than the Bauer and the Kobalt at around 190 degrees. And the Ryobi is programmed to shut off at 36 psi, but it shut off at 37 in 7 minutes and 21 seconds. And the WORX finished in 4th place on the last test, and is making very quick progress on this test. However, the pump is running a little bit hotter than some of the other brands, with the pump air hose at around 185 degrees. 5 minutes and 52 seconds is good enough to move into first place, and that's about 1.5 minutes faster than the Kobalt. And the DriveMo claims to be able to inflate a full-size car tire. And the DriveMo is running very hot at around 215 degrees. and the DriveMo is finished at just over 10 minutes. The inflator indicates 36, but the pressure gauge is at 35 psi. And it's off to the races for the Ridgid and is making a run for it to go underneath the car. And the Ridgid claims to be the fastest 18-volt inflator, and it's the fastest so far. And the air hose is running a little hot at around 190 degrees. And the Ridgid powered down at just under 4 minutes, which is by far the fastest yet. The analog gauge is showing 37, and the Ridgid is showing 36 psi. And the DeWalt definitely has its work cut out, as the Ridgid is very fast. And the DeWalt's compressor is the coolest yet, with the air hose at only 108 degrees Fahrenheit. And the DeWalt is finished in just over 6.5 minutes. And both gauges agree that the pressure is just a little below 36 psi. And the Milwaukee was the fastest on the first test and is very fast once again. Just like the DeWalt compressor, the air hose is staying very cool with the air hose at 117 degrees Fahrenheit. And the Ridgid finished the job in just under 4 minutes, but the Milwaukee is a lot faster at 2 minutes and 31 seconds. Very impressive. And both gauges agree that the Milwaukee is over by about 1 psi. And the extra gauge and hose is likely throwing off the accuracy of the faster inflators. And the Makita is designed to shut off once it reaches the programmed pressure at 36 psi. And the analog gauge is showing about 36 psi at around the 3 minute and 20 second mark, but the Makita isn't shutting off. Just like the DeWalt and the Milwaukee, the Makita is running nice and cool at 121 degrees. And the Makita finally powered itself down in 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Both gauges agree that the Makita overshot the target by about 4 psi. And the Milwaukee pumped up a completely flat 15-inch tire to 36 psi in only 2.5 minutes. The Makita and the Ridgid are also very fast at around 3.5 minutes. Before we risk destroying the pumps in a really challenging test, let's see which of the pumps can inflate Cousin Eddie's air mattress the fastest. And the Dnyker inflated the mattress in 1 minute and 7 seconds. And the Dnyker removed all the air from the mattress in 59 seconds. And the Bauer is 8 seconds faster than the Dnyker at 59 seconds. And it took the Bauer 63 seconds to remove all the air. And the Ryobi is even faster than the Bauer at 57 seconds to inflate the mattress. And it took 1 minute and 6 seconds to remove the air with the Ryobi. And the DeWalt is a little slower than the Bauer and the Ryobi at 65 seconds. 1 minute and 9 seconds is slower than the other 3 brands. Pumps like the Milwaukee, Ridgid, and Makita are very fast and high volume, but can they handle the high pressure? Let's see how long it takes for each of the pumps to add 10 psi, going from 70 to 80 psi in a 17-inch load range E tire. And the Dnyker did just fine with the higher pressure, inflating the tire from 70 to 80 psi in 6 minutes and 13 seconds. And the Kobalt is once again faster than the Dnyker, inflating the tire in 4 minutes and 47 seconds. And I'm pretty surprised that the very compact TC15 survived the test without melting down. Just over 13 minutes to add 10 psi. And the Bauer is almost as fast as the Kobalt at 4 minutes and 55 seconds to move into second place. And the very compact Gooloo not only survived the test, it actually performed fairly well at 7 minutes to make it to 80 psi. And the Ryobi isn't quite as fast as the Kobalt and the Bauer at 5 minutes and 21 seconds. And the WORX has outperformed the Kobalt and the Bauer in previous tests, and it outperformed them again this time at 3.5 minutes. And the Ridgid is very fast at lower pressure, and it's also fast on this test at only 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Very impressive. And the DeWalt was slower than the Kobalt at lower pressure, but the DeWalt easily outperformed the Kobalt this time at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And the Milwaukee is by far the fastest in the lineup at lower pressure, and is still the fastest, going from 70 to 80 psi in 1 minute and 40 seconds. And the Makita is about 3 seconds slower than the Ridgid at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. If you're looking for a tire inflator that's designed to handle high pressure, the Milwaukee is by far the fastest, going from 70 to 80 psi. However, the Ridgid and the Makita also perform very well at just over 2 minutes. Most of the tire inflators can handle inflating a completely flat car tire. Of the fastest 3 brands, let's see how they perform inflating a completely flat tire to 80 psi. And the inflator hose on the Ridgid is very hot at around 210 degrees. However, the Ridgid did survive the test and made it to 80 psi in 17 minutes. And the Milwaukee has outpaced the Ridgid throughout the showdown. It's also running cooler than the Ridgid at 150 degrees, or about 60 degrees cooler than the Ridgid. And once again, the Milwaukee is faster at just over 12 minutes, or 5 minutes faster than the Ridgid. And the Makita is a very fast inflator, but it always seems to be about a half a step behind the Ridgid. However, the Makita is running about 50 degrees cooler than the Ridgid at 160 degrees. And the Makita is very close to the same as the Ridgid at just over 17 minutes. The Milwaukee is definitely the fastest tire pump, but it's very expensive at around $150. If you're looking for something a lot more affordable, I really like the Kobalt as well as the Bauer. Both of those are very good pumps for around $50. Finally, if you need a very compact pump, I really like the Gooloo. All the videos in this channel, including this one, are viewer suggested. So if you have a video idea, I hope you'll take time to leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching. Please take care, and look forward to next time.